Oh golly, let's talk about this for a second. What's going on, everybody? I know it's been a few days. Let's talk about ZA for a second. Talk about the state of which the game is currently and the things that people have been discussing about the game right now. Being a Pokemon fan in 2025, you're just getting it from every which way, man. You're literally just getting punched down by everybody, from other people who are playing the game online, for people that aren't really like super Pokemon fans, but they're hopping on and they're just being like, this game's absolute garbage, right? You're getting it from Pokemon, right? That literally puts out a game and they want an additional $30 from you for a DLC, and they offer two versions of a game which basically run exactly the same, the Switch 1 and the Switch 2 versions of ZA. From everything I've seen, watching like graphical comparisons, I have the Switch 2 version. I pre-ordered that months ago because being a Pokemon fan, that's what you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to just pre-order games and get all that stuff, right? Like I'm playing a little bit of it. Totodile is a starter. There's things from the game I know I'm going to glean from it that I know I'm going to like about it. I know it's not going to be everything, right? There's a lot of criticism about the game and a lot of things that are being said about it. And honestly, at this point, I have to sit down and just be like, so a lot of the criticism's actually pretty valid. A lot of the things people are saying, especially when you compare it to other Switch games that are currently on the console, man. Like, I mean, you want to talk about Donkey Kong Bonanza, you want to talk about, Tears of the Kingdom, you want to talk about Breath of the Wild, you want to talk about Odyssey. Dude, Odyssey's like, what, a 7-8-year-old game at this point? Like, came out like, what, 2018, 17, something like that? It came out in that time frame. And that game, in my opinion, holds up a little bit better in the realms of graphics. I'm not talking about like resolution or like frame rate or anything like that. I'm just talking about just how the game actually looks, the actual polish that was put into the game. I know Game Freak has a ton of models that they have to do. I know there's over 1,000 Pokemon, okay? I know that all of that requires animation, requires all this, right? And I know everyone says that they're the biggest grossing company in the world. Well, I mean, at what point is that not true? At what point can we sit there and say, you know what? Maybe the building should have doors. Maybe the building should have windows. Maybe there should be somebody who gives a fuck to do the little things about like actual detail for the game. The little things. Me from the future basically almost forgot about this. Maybe that's why Pokemon doesn't put that in the games. Maybe they forgot about it as well whenever they put out the game. Like, oh man, forgot about voice acting. Forgot voice acting for 2025. You know it is bad when new Pokemon Snap has more voice acting in it than your mainline Pokemon games. You know when Black and White 2 has more voice lines in it than your 2025 Pokemon game. You know it's bad. When fucking Triple X Pokemon parodies have more voice acting in it than your 2025 Pokemon game, you know it's already bad. You know that's like, what's the excuse at this point? What actually is the excuse? You got Pokemon voices and cries in the game. You got all that stuff. Like, I'm not even asking for it to be fully voice acted or anything. I'm not asking for that. Just some voice acting, just a little bit, just some voices for these characters, man. Your characters and your creature designs. That's what you guys excel at. That's what keeps you guys ahead of a lot of other people. Giving them that personality, I swear, will go a long way. I swear it will. The next game, if it doesn't have voice acting or something like that, there's going to be a lot of people heavily considering just dropping Pokemon. I'm saying Digimon, man. Digimon. That's Time Stranger game. I'm picking up that one next. That game looks really good. It looks a hell of a lot better and a lot more polished than what we actually got from that. Definitely going to give that a shot, too. That's a thing. It just, can't believe I almost forgot voice act regarding that stuff, right? I guarantee there's going to be things about, there's people complaining about some of the other things, too. Like Mega Starmie is getting a bunch of random hate for some reason. And honestly, that's the funniest part of the game. That's the most content part of the game that I've seen so far to release it. I'm not super far into it. I'm not completely like done with everything, but like I'm playing Silk Song at the exact same time. And I'm telling you this right now, for the amount of money I paid for Silk Song, I'm a big Hollow Knight fan too, by the way. Silk Song is leagues of quality better than Poke. It's kind of crazy to sit here and actually have this conversation. I defended Scarlet and Violet a good little bit, but not the frame rate, not the actual performance. The performance for that shit sucked, and there wasn't anybody who could say anything about that, right? It was a god-awful fucking mess, and nobody was defending that, right? I defended Legends Arceus. I don't think Legends Arceus is that bad. I really am not going to be the person that says that game is that bad. I also like Silent Hill Homecoming as well. That's considered one of the worst Silent Hills to come out, but honestly, I don't think it's that fucking bad. So let that just lay out how I feel about games and certain things, that right? I don't think Sword and Shield is that bad. I think the story for Sword and Shield is actually kind of garbage compared to the Scarlet and Violet story. The story writing for Scarlet and Violet is peak. That is some good storytelling when it comes to Pokemon. It's just hidden under a game that doesn't run very well, but you got the Switch 2 now, so it does run better. So it's like, man, being a Pokemon fan is like crazy when it comes to games right this second. If you have the Switch 1 and you're thinking about getting a Switch 2 to play, you don't really need to get it. Everything I've seen, it runs just fine on the Switch 1. It's negligible, the differences that are on that too. You're going to go from 30 fucking frames per second to 60, I think. I think that's your big one. Some of the textures are slightly sharper, and some of the actual saturations of color have been slid to the right a little bit. That's really all that happened when it comes to like the things that I've seen for that. Once again, there's going to be things. This game is not taking the fucking 4 lead instead of Silk Song. Pokemon is taking the back burner to Silk Song. I'm finishing that game while I'm sitting here at the hospital doing this stuff, man. I'm finishing Silk Song. That game is amazing compared to what we're looking at here when it comes to Pokemon ZA. And I love Pokemon. I really do. It's crazy. Like, the cards, it's completely messed up. The TCG portion of things, like, it's difficult to even engage in that at this point because of the state Pokemon's in. The actual game comes out. And there are people, well, I'm not saying you don't have to dislike the game, okay? If you love what came out with ZA, that's fine. But to just completely disregard criticism from people that are actually pointing out, like, the shortcomings that are coming from this game, that are just, you can point at it, and you can be like, yeah, this is kind of goofy. For example, the DLC, that's a great one where people are just criticizing that. People are kind of trying to just write it off as, like, it's not really, like, a thing to criticize at all. No, that can definitely be criticized. If they had all of that stuff ready at the forefront, if they had Mega Raichu X and Y already designed, there's literally no reason that couldn't have been actually put into the game as well. They could have just delayed it a month or something and literally been like, yeah, here's more content for the game itself. It would have been something. It definitely would have been something. Maybe like lower the price of fucking Pokemon. I know that's what it is. I know that's not going to be a thing. It's got to be $70 because it's a first party Nintendo game and it's never going to go on sale because Pokemon and Nintendo games never really do that. They're just always going to be fucking $70, $60 for the rest of their inception. But things like that, let's like straight up the cost too. Speaking of like content, man, one of the things I actually saw, spoiler, I'm going to talk about this for like a minute. So if you want to go ahead for like a minute, I'll be talking about DLC again here in a second. But like, okay, the ZA ranking system for the battling, right? Are some people aware that, like, you know, going from Z to A, there's 26 letters in there, right? You get to fucking letter V, apparently. You beat that actual leader of that letter. You skip, like, a bunch of fucking letters, and you go to, like, letter G or F or something. So it kind of feels like a bunch of the content just isn't there for the sake of the content not being there. And if someone says that it's because it's repetitive or to get away from the grindy aspect of the motherfucker, there's shiny hunters here. There's people that will literally grind the fuck out of this Pokemon game in order to get what they want out of it. There's people that will play the grind. There's people that love the grind. There's people who do that stuff. You're not going to give everybody the full amount of content in there. It's a special ranking where we're skipping like half the letters of the fucking alphabet. We're cutting half of the potential content out of the fucking game for that entire thing. It's hilarious that you're paying full price for this. You're paying more for the DLC. You're going to pay more for the Switch 2 because that's ultimately the one. Once again, if you have a Switch 1, you do not need to do that from everything I've seen. You don't even need to consider a Switch 2 for this. Get the Switch 1 version, save yourself $10, and you'll basically have the exact same experience as everybody else. ZA, I'm sure there's great things about it. I like the new Mega Pokemon. That's actually one of the things I do like about it. There's some people saying the Pokemon designs are absolute trash. I do not think that whatsoever. I think the designs look fine. I think that everything, like, actually about that, the actual Pokemon models look pretty good in the game too. A lot of detail, a lot of movement and that stuff. The battle system so far, I mean, like, turn-based RPGs exist. It's really not any worse than anything previously Pokemon has done with turn-based. If you just like the turn-based aspect of it versus the other thing, I get it. There's a couple things where you can switch out Pokemon and, like, they kind of take damage needlessly because it just seems that's how it's designed. Anytime you switch out a Pokemon, throw it in, you're probably going to take damage. I mean, that kind of happened in the turn-based too. If you swapped one in, the other Pokemon still had the ability to attack and do that turn because your turn was swapping it in. I don't really think the combat system is really that bad. I don't really have a problem with the actual, the letter skipping is crazy to me. That's insane to me. Like, that's actually nuts to me that they're cutting half of the game based off of that alone. It's a very odd decision to make. It's a very funny, it's a very Game Freak decision, honestly. It's very, very much, they're making another game too. They're making a different one. It actually does look pretty good, but at the same time, you always gotta look at Game Freak. You always gotta be like, And And I like Pokemon games. I do. I really like, there's a lot of things about Pokemon games that have really carried me through my childhood and adulthood. Pokemon Black and White and Pokemon Black 2, White 2, in my opinion, were the last times Pokemon truly gave 110%, and they were not really rewarded very well because people did not like the amount of detail and the attention that they gave to the game. There's so many different cool things about Black 2 and White 2 that are awesome. There's so many different things about the DS era for Pokemon that actually rock that people took for granted back in the day that looking back at that, it's like, man, we really had it good. We really had so much stuff good for Pokemon. I'm still going to play ZA. I'm still going to actually play that. I'm still going to beat it. I'm still going to have I'm going to get my money's worth out of it. I'm still going to play Pokemon. There's going to be things about it I like, but this is not taking the forefront to Silk Song. Silk Song is getting beat, and if I need to take a break from that, I'm going to play ZA on the back burner, that stuff too. It can wait. That's crazy. That's something I didn't think I'd actually would say. A $20 indie game from, don't get me wrong, Team Cherry makes, Hollow Knight's great. That is a fantastic game. And Silk Song is basically a masterpiece at this point. Compared to Pokemon, it's crazy. That's really all I got. It's funny we're here. I just think people just like brushing off all the criticism people have for it, like all these people talking about their issues with the game, going like, no, it's just Pokemon stuff, it's just Jed Waters, it's just Jed Boy stuff and stuff like that. Does exist, but it is not all that is too. There's a lot of people that have been playing Pokemon games for a very long time that have legitimate criticism about this game that are sitting there going like, man, this sucks. This aspect of this sucks. And there's people giving it its few praises too. There's people talking about the models, talking about stuff. Once again, I'm one of the minority that don't think the battle system is really that bad. I don't think it's any worse than turn-based or anything like that. It's just me personally, but you do you. Feel free to do what you want. Feel free to spend your money how you want. If you want to get the Switch 2 purely to get this, feel free. You'll get the exact same experience on the Switch 1. It's kind of crazy that we're at this point. Pokemon, the TCG, it's in complete shambles right now. Pokemon Go and Pokemon fucking Pocket, they're money grab gotcha games for the most part at this point, man. They really are. Fucking ZA is just falling short, and like all the criticisms people are having for the game, it's crazy. There's not doors. There's very few doors in the game. You're walking around the city and like there's no doors. Except for like 2 or 3 buildings so far I've seen. I'll update the door count later when I get there. But that was one of the big criticisms I saw. Buildings could not be going into. And for the most part, other than a couple of the main buildings that are like key locations, it's just people have points. People have good criticism. That's all I got. Appreciate it, Virgin Gang. See you later. If you're having fun with the game, once again, it's you. Have fun. It's okay. I guarantee I'll have fun with parts of the game too. Just Silk Song's coming first. That is a $20 masterpiece people slaved over, and honestly, I'm going to give that the attention it deserves as opposed to a game that was phoned in by a $1 billion company that barely cares about what they do anymore. Later, Virgin Gang.